halfway through, from the beginning, I was like, yo, like, I don't even want to pass this test. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to fail, you know? Because I was like, yo, like, I have a wedding after this. I'm like, this isn't my calling, you know? And I'm like clicking stuff. And I see people like really like they're hungry for this job. I'm like, yo, what am I even doing, you know? And so then I was the first person to finish the test, right? Out of everyone there. So like,
yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I was like A, B, A, C, A, D, A, E. And then I was like, oh, too many A's in a row. Gotta be C. You know?
Just putting random shit.
I'm like, man, I forgot how much like I'm so detached from school that I was like, oh man, like I kind of like hate school now at this age, like the idea of like exams. So then one of the coordinators, we both walk out because I finished. So it's like, okay, exit. And she walked out. She's like, unfortunately, you did not pass. I was like, oh, thank God. She's like, what? She's like,
yes.
She's like, thank God. I'm like, yeah, honestly, I'm a DJ. I just did this to like,
you're
make
creative, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
There's two different types of people in the world, and both. There's nothing wrong with any type, right? There's some people who are okay with doing the 9 to 5, and they can do that mundane or just repetitive type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And then there's creatives like us where like you get put in that kind of situation and you feel trapped. You're like, what are we doing? Get me out of here.
Yeah. You literally feel like you're being suffocated and like your entire being or identity is being like compromised. Because I feel like there are some people who find meaning in their work. Like people like us, we're creatives. We find meaning in what we do. Yeah. But then there are people who find meaning outside of their work. So they're able to work a regular job, but then Friday night, Saturday night, or going to a cottage or hanging out with their family, like that's where they find meaning, you know? So I feel like you're one of the two. And yeah, I think it made me kind of double down on like, you know what? Like I'm starting to get a little motion, you know what I'm saying? People are starting to recognize the stash and like I'm getting gigs. So like, let me just stick to it, you know?
Yeah. Being a creative is the long road, but it's a rewarding road at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? When we all get to where we want to be, those places are where there's people who have a lot of money, dog. There's no creative who their main goal or their end goal is to get like 100,000 a year. Most creatives, the person that you're looking at, who's like the person like either your mentor or the person that you look up to, like, or, you know, or you're a fan of, you're like, that person's usually a millionaire or a billionaire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're like, you want to be the best executive in the company that you work for, that person might be 100,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? So it's different levels of the things that we want out of our life too. It might not be monetary in the end of the day, but to be able to do what we do creatively and not have to pay no bills or worry about our bills or that type of shit, it comes with a lot of money.
But,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think honestly, like if you have a passion for something and you double down on the time you would have had otherwise spent on the passion, you would have spent it on 9 to 5. You're still doing the 9 to 5 for your passion.
Yeah, it still serves a purpose.
Your passion becomes the 9 to 5. You know, you're working almost double the time actually on a passion than you would on a going to a regular job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you kind of have to treat it as such.
Yeah, your passion becomes, it's a job, like to be able to maintain yourself off of being a creative as a DJ, as an engineer, as a podcaster.
About finding that balance where you can use all the time of your day or the time that you had free or were to do a 9 to 5 and do something you love doing.
Yeah.
And like get retained from that, like get money from that, or be able to.
The hustle that it takes also, it takes a lot more hustle sometimes than when you're working at the 9 to 5, right? Because there's no guarantee on when your next check is coming.
Yeah. I've tried to balance having a 9 to 5 with being a creative, like as a producer, engineer, artist, or even as a DJ. And what I will say is when you have that 9 to 5, you have like a safety cushion that kind of like, how do I say it? It kind of makes you don't have as much energy to put into your art. But when you're like full time in your artistry, your back's against the wall, but you have way more output. So it's kind of like you're going to struggle because you're not going to have money, but you're going to have way more time to get better at your craft. And what I will say though, and this is my follow-up question, like there are some creatives we know, but what if being creative or being a creative as a career is maybe not viable for them? Because let's face it, not every creative is a good creative.
True.
You know, like a lot of people are creative natured, but like, is that their calling in terms of vocation? You know,
it's all it depends on. You got to know when to say when, right? If you're not a good creative and you're going to be the last one to know it. When you're not a good creative.
That's unfortunate,
right? So what ends up happening is like you have to self-assess. Like, is this shit really working for me? You know what I'm saying? When people recognizing me for it? Am I making any kind of money from it? Like, is anything happening? Like, is there any growth? And if not, then you got to assess. Like, okay, maybe I got to do something else.
Yeah, I agree. If you're doubling down on it and you're putting all your time and effort into it, and you're not getting any results. Mm-hmm. And you've tried everything, you know, there's nothing wrong with having that safety cushion you were saying, right?
Yeah.
And then working at it, or, you know, developing,
trying to improve it,
improving that way, right? So that you have that safety net still, and then deciding when you start to see that results at any moment, you start to see results is a clear sign that you should, you know, like that you can make that leap and that risk. And it's high risk and high reward, but you once you see the results, like if I were to pay you to come DJ at an event and that was like your first gig, right? You now know that you can make money off of that.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you could do it once, you could do it twice, 3 times.
Absolutely.
100 times.
And I'll take back what I said about the person being the last to know if they're whack. In these days and times, we got comment sections. So if your comment section is always telling you you're whack more than they're telling you that your shit is hard, then you might have to really assess that shit. Can't be like, I ignore the comments. No, if your comments are like 80%, yo, that was trash all the time, everything you put out, then it might be trash.
Yeah, but you got to be careful with that because it depends where you go. Like, for example, like your YouTube comments, a lot of them are encouraging.
Yeah.
On Reddit, Torontology, like they're kind of negative towards you. So if you just base it off their negativity, you'd be like, oh, I shouldn't do this, you know?
Yes. You're right. You have to know what comment section to go for. Don't go to Reddit and then assess your career off of Reddit.
But it's about true fans.
Yes.
It's about true like clients or true fans or true like
impact. I feel like impact is super key. Like if you're even able to inspire one person, bro, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
love hip hop.